Hello, friends. Welcome to Time Out with Noelle Janae, a podcast about Christianity and other life topics. I'm your host, Noelle, and thank you so much for timing out with me. Here's what you can expect from today's podcast. Talk about something that doesn't really exude a lot of energy, because I don't have a lot of energy to give. And that is my favorite podcasts. So, what is up, guys? Oh my gosh. So, my voice, I sound like a man. I am very congested. I am sick. I do not have COVID. I have my yearly bout, fight with chronic bronchitis. I was diagnosed with chronic bronchitis when I was like 10 or 11 maybe. I don't even remember, but I do every year get bronchitis during the fall and winter time. So, yeah, I'm not contagious. So if you go to school with me, I will not get you sick. I just don't have a voice right now. But I'm still doing this podcast because I love it. And today I just wanted to take it easy on myself, talk about something that doesn't really exude a lot of energy, because I don't have a lot of energy to give. And that is my favorite podcasts. So I have 5 podcasts I'm going to talk about. The just ones that I listen to pretty much every day. Every time a new episode comes out, I'm listening to it. So, this will definitely be a shorter episode, and I'm sorry about it, but I just don't have energy right now. So, yes. The first podcast, I'm going to talk about is one that I've mentioned pretty much every episode of this podcast so far, and it is the Gather and Grow podcast with my girl, Libby Robinson. I love that girl so much. If you do not know what the Gather and Grow podcast is, what are you doing? I have talked about them for so long. Libby is a friend of mine. We went to school together last year. She went to Lee, and we didn't really know each other. We lived in the same dorm, but we didn't really know each other. We didn't get to know each other that well until quarantine, and then we started texting, and then I started my podcast, and then recently we recorded a couple of episodes together for both of our podcasts, which should be coming out very soon. And her podcast is a Christian high school advice podcast, and she has different influencers and creators and speakers come on her podcast, and they just talk about their ministry, what the Lord's teaching them. And I am so excited for y'all to hear the episodes we did, and I think the Lord is really just gonna bless her ministry even more than he already has. And she is based down in Georgia, and I just love her episodes. I love the vibes. I love the content that she makes. I love the guests that she has on. She just started releasing season 3 last week, and I can't wait to hear the rest of the guests. She has some really good guests lined up for this season, and I just can't wait to listen to the rest of it because it's going to be so good. So that's the Gather and Grow podcast. The next one is called Call Me Candid. Now, the 2 girls who run this are Lily and Haley Pham. I have been watching Haley Pham on YouTube for a few years now, ever since she lived, or ever since she was in high school. We're like near the same age, and I love this podcast. It's a Christian business kind of podcast, and it is so good. The girls are from Texas, and Lily just moved to Texas, and they're around my age, and they're best friends, and they both have like an e-commerce business, and Lily is a full-time e-commerce business owner. Haley is a full-time YouTuber, and their podcast is just so good. This past week, they talked about ways to stay organized, and it was just so good. Their episodes are so good, and I just like listening to them when I'm driving or stuff like that. And it's really like you're having a conversation with them. It's really fun, so highly recommend. The next one is one that I was really surprised that I would like. It's called Sipping on Theology, and I forgot the guy who does it, but theology is a topic I'm kind of interested in right now because I'm in Intro to Theology at Lee right now, and I just think the topic of theology is just so interesting. Honestly, I may end up becoming a double major if God really calls me to it in religion and music. But I think theology is just super interesting, and I've listened to pretty much all his episodes, and he brews coffee, and then he'll talk about theology and stuff. And it's kind of complicated because he talks about so many different topics, but it's just so good. And I really like it. So that's Sipping on Theology. And then the next one is called Caffeinated Christians Podcast. This was started by my friend Emma. She also went to Lee last year, but now she is a theology major online at Liberty University. And it's her and her friend Holly. And Caffeinated Christians is a podcast that really talks about the things that Christians don't usually like talking about, and it's also a theology based podcast, and it is just so interesting. I love Emma and just her ministry and her influence and her vulnerability on social media, and I just love that girl so much. And I think that this is just a really good podcast if you're new to being a Christian and you want to learn more about it, or you're interested in being a Christian. I would definitely turn you to the Caffeinated Christians podcast, because they just give really good sound biblical advice and wisdom and stuff. And then the last podcast is one that I've recently discovered. It's called Unfiltered Faith, and it's with Meredith Foster and another girl. I can't remember her name, but I've been watching Meredith Foster for so many years, mid-2000s Bethany Mona era circa, yes. And I did not know Meredith was a Christian because I kind of stopped watching her, and then I recently rediscovered her, and now I'm obsessed with this podcast. And this is another one. This is a girl talk Christian podcast, and it is just so good. They really talk about different topics that girls don't really want to talk about. And I just think, if you just need some girl talk and you don't really have any friends or good Christian friends to talk to, I highly recommend listening to this podcast, because I think they just give really good advice and they talk about really good topics and stuff. So yeah, that's my top 5 favorite podcasts right now. If you have any suggestions, DM me on Instagram, on the podcast Instagram, or on my personal Instagram, and I will listen to them, and I will possibly do a future favorite podcast episode in a few months, and I will update you guys on what podcast I'm listening to. And I am so sorry that I am so sick right now, but I do love doing this podcast, and I just wanted to do just a little laid back episode, a little shorter episode. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks, and yes. What is up, guys? It is time once again for your favorite segment of this podcast called Songs of the BiWeek. Now, if you are new to the podcast and you haven't heard of this, then I shall explain it to you. Songs of the BiWeek is a segment on here where I recommend you guys a couple of song / music. Those are the same thing. Suggestions. And I just talk about why I love them. So, yes. So, today, this week's songs of the BiWeek are as follows. Thriller by Michael Jackson and Anthem of Praise by Richard Smallwood. Now, since it is September, that means that spoopy season is coming up, which means it's time to bring out my fall playlist. And Thriller is one that I have been playing constantly because I love Michael Jackson. He is probably one of my favorite artists of all time. And I just love the vibes of Thriller. I love how it's an upbeat song, but it's spoopy at the same time. And I just want to curl up and just listen to my fall playlist all the time, basically. And I love dancing to this song. It's a good dance break song, period. And then Anthem of Praise is one that we do in my choir at EVS, and recently I auditioned for a solo in this song, and we love this song. This is one of my favorite songs we do, and it gets me hyped, it gets me worshiping. It's so good. I love Richard Smallwood. He is one person who I look up to in music, and I love that dude. He's fantastic, and I just love this song. I love singing this song. I love listening to this song. I love teaching this song to my section. I just love this song. So those are the songs of the BiWeek. If you have any song suggestions, DM me on Instagram, on the podcast Instagram, or on my personal Instagram. And you never know, I could put them in the songs of the BiWeek in the future. Be blessed and highly flavored, friends. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. If you liked it, then give us a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to the podcast on wherever you listen to, and share it with your friends and family so it can spread around and more people can listen to a 19-year-old sophomore college student rant about things. If you want to, you can follow us on Instagram at TimeNoelPod. Check out the blog, check out the small business, check out all the links and stuff, and don't forget to save or add the Songs of the BiWeek playlist on Apple Music and Spotify. And next time I will be talking about something. Not really sure what, but something. I hope you guys have a blessed and highly flavored day, and a blessed and highly flavored 2 weeks, and I will catch you in the next one. Goodbye!